Ubisoft might just be the most hit and miss company in the gaming industry. They're capable of making good games. In fact, they're capable of making great games. Sometimes they just don't. Sometimes they like to look for the easy way out. Sometimes they just do things a little bit, I'm going to use the word slapdash. What's the most recent example? Well, from the title you can probably tell, it's the remaster of Assassin's Creed Rogue. A game that I didn't realise even needed a remaster. And what's funny is it didn't even get one. It's just got a remaster somehow. They've remastered it, but they haven't even remastered it. It's weird. Think about it. I'm going to explain. I'm going to talk about why A, the remaster is bad. I'm going to talk about how it could have been. And I'm going to talk about why it didn't need to exist in the first place. I'm not going to say that I've wasted my money, because I bought the game, because I have bought the remaster. I don't regret doing that, because let's face it, I've made that money back since I am such a piece of shit. So I'm not too far set back by spending £20 on this remaster, and fair enough, you know what? I'm not fussed by that. I did it because A, I know that nobody else is going to fucking cover it, and B, I'll make more money back covering it. Scum. I'm scum. Alright, go ahead. Attack. Do it. Send your mate and attack. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. I'm not going to justify why I bought this thing anymore, because I bought it, deal with it. Nobody cares, that's my money to spend. I don't even value it, so don't worry. So this video isn't anything to do with why I bought this remaster, because the answer is because I'm a fucking idiot. Why this video is here is because I said I need to break down 3 things. Why I don't like the remaster, or at least why I think the remaster isn't a remaster, let's go with that. How the remaster could have been better, what they could have done, things like that, and why it didn't need to exist in the first place. So, first of all, why didn't I like the remaster? Well, here's why, okay? I have spent a lot of time playing Assassin's Creed Rogue on PC, on Xbox 360, mostly PC to be fair, and the only real difference I noticed between the PC version and Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered is that the PC version runs at 60 frames per second. There are differences in the graphics. They showed them off in their Rogue Remastered launch trailer. In fact, they had to, because nobody else would fucking spot them, so they had to spot them for us. So the differences are there, that's fair enough, but they're so minimal that they don't enhance the experience in any way whatsoever. But I expected that. I mean, I saw all the promotional content. I have made a video back when it was announced, going over why the Rogue Remaster looks like a half-assed remaster, if even that, and I was right. I've proven myself right. I feel as if I was right in saying that the remaster doesn't look very good at all, because honestly, it wasn't very much better looking than Rogue was to begin with, and that means that it hadn't improved very much. It hadn't enhanced the experience at all. Playing the Rogue Remaster didn't give me any satisfaction, not like the Ezio Collection did, where there was actual satisfaction when playing Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, or Revelations actually. All 3 I felt like there was definitely some enhancements there. But Rogue's, it's just a poor excuse for a remaster as far as graphics go. There's no like changes to lighting to improve it. There's no real improvements that you can notice. There might be overall improvements, but they are nowhere near to the scale that they need to be to make the remaster worthwhile. They might as well have just bloody ported it. But back to my point about the difference between PC and the remaster, the only thing that I really noticed is the fact that the remaster is still locked at 30 frames per second. Okay? It's 2018. There is absolutely no excuse for a remaster for a last generation game to come to this generation and barely be enhanced graphically speaking and still be locked at 30 frames. You could argue that that would be a lot of work to keep it stable, which to be fair you do have a point there, but then again that would require actual effort to do to enhance, if so, and that would mean putting in effort. So what? Is it too much to ask that they put effort into their remasters then? If they wanted to remaster this game so badly, they definitely should have put effort into, because all it seems to me, the Rogue Remaster, all it seems to me is a ploy to keep Assassin's Creed relevant while they don't make a game this year. And they don't need to do that. They don't need to remaster every single bloody game under the sun just to keep the franchise relevant. Origins has enough thunder to keep it going until then. Right? Origins is bloody incredible. This Rogue Remaster is not. It's nowhere near. this Rogue Remaster is probably one of the shoddiest remasters I've ever seen. You could argue that they put in some effort when they created some new legacy outfits for the Rogue Remaster, such as the Aguilar one. I would agree that they put effort into that until I actually saw what it looked like. They definitely didn't put effort into that, fuck me. It looks like a B-Team cosplay, that's all it is. So the reason why, just to wrap it all up nicely, the reason why I don't like the Rogue Remaster as a remaster is because it does not feel like a remaster. It feels like a HD port at best. I won't lie, there are definitely improvements that have been made, but they're so minimal that you wouldn't notice them. It's almost as if it's just been optimized for the current generation in the most minimal way going. It shouldn't probably have the title Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered, as catchy as that may be. It should be something like Assassin's Creed Rogue HD, because that's the only way that I ever see that actually being an accurate title. Which is kind of weird because it would be HD on the 360 and PlayStation 3 anyway. So Assassin's Creed Rogue just a little bit more HD, something that actually suits it. But as much as I can't deny that this is a remaster by definition, it's such a poor excuse for one. It's such a poor excuse for a remaster to the point where you could argue that it's not really a remaster at all, that it's just a HD port, that it's just an upscale in resolution. So that's why I don't like the Rogue Remaster, because I cannot justify calling it a remaster. And I mean, I knew that going in. I knew that I wasn't going to like it, you know? I bought it so that I can make an educated video explaining why this Rogue Remaster isn't a remaster. At least not in my books. So, how could the Rogue Remaster have been better? Well, first of all, 60 frames per second. That's the big one. 60 frames. There is no excuse why on the PlayStation 4 Pro or Xbox One X, it shouldn't be able to tank 60 frames per second.
60 frames is more cinematic.
Get off your fucking high horse. Furthermore, I think the visual enhancements should be a bit more prominent, if you know what I mean. Like, they should be more visible, more noticeable. You know, you need to be able to remember Assassin's Creed Rogue how it was, and then see it now in glory, essentially. So that means better lighting, better textures, replaced where necessary, put some actual bloody effort into the legacy outfits that you introduced in the remaster. You know what I mean? Things that shouldn't really take too much, really. They might take a bit. I mean, I'm not a game developer. I'm just a overly entitled critic, evidently. But it's how I feel. They could have done so many things that are quite minute in themselves, but could have improved this remaster tons. And Ubisoft is a huge company with enough money to do it, and the developers capable of doing it. They are great at making games, you know, they're really good when they try, which is about 50% of the time. Like I said, Ubisoft is incredibly hit and miss. Sometimes they'll do really well with a game, other times they'll pump out a shit one. I'm just going to put it blankly. They've done it in the past. They have pumped out games that are complete and utter dog. But they've pumped out some of the best games that I've ever played as well, you know? Like, it's kind of weird. It's like a dice roll. Sometimes you get a good game, sometimes you don't. I'm not saying that to be unfair to Ubisoft, because I do have a lot of respect for those developers. They try their very hardest, but they've got to abide by what's set for them. So I feel as if, again, this does sit kind of higher up. But like I said, right, sometimes they'll pump out a really good game, but sometimes they'll force a game that's mediocre. Sometimes it'll be really bad. You want an example? Watch Dogs 2, Assassin's Creed Unity, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Assassin's Creed 3, The Division. Games that just don't feel like that their full potential's been maximised. Not necessarily really, really bad, like I said, just not maximised in their own potential. Least of all 3, Unity and Syndicate can fuck off, I don't give a shit. So 3 and Unity, those games could have been fucking incredible. They just weren't done to the standard that other games that they've done have been to. Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Origins, fucking hell, I love Origins. Origins shows that Ubisoft still has it, they're still capable. They can do it, they can make these improvements to anything. They could have done it with the Rogue Remaster, they just didn't. I'm not sure the ins and outs, but Ubisoft are the ones in control of what happened with it regardless, whether it's the developers or higher up in the company, you know? They have the control over whoever is making this, and they can make it look as great as possible. They just didn't, that's how it seems. But they could have, so they should have, but they didn't, so here we are. So those are some very simple ways in which Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered could have been better, but just wasn't. And now we're moving on to the point of why it didn't need to exist in the first place. Assassin's Creed Rogue isn't even 4 years old. They made it exclusively for last generation for some reason, obviously to ease that transition. They could have ported it over, but they decided to remaster it and then not remaster it very well at that. Also, they did it to keep Assassin's Creed relevant, which didn't need to happen, because Assassin's Creed is as relevant as it's ever been in years with the Origins, which was amazing. So Rogue Remastered is a bit of a throwaway. So the only real reason for the Rogue Remaster to exist is profit, if you think about it. And honestly, in the gaming industry, everything's supposed to make a profit as far as the developers and those companies are concerned. So that's not really a bad thing. But there doesn't seem to be any positives for us. Now, don't get me wrong, I really liked Rogue. I thought it was a good game, I thought it was fun, it showed a different perspective on the Assassin-Templar conflict and all that wonderful stuff. I didn't think it was anything super duper special, but I thought it definitely had importance to the franchise and all that stuff. But never did I think, ooh, this game needs a remaster. No, this is not one of those games that I think really needed it, you know? I mean, obviously they needed to port it over to current generation consoles, and they may as well have just done that, because the remaster, they could have even done what they did with Black Flag on the current generation. They didn't necessarily remaster it, but they updated some textures and things to make everything seem denser and nicer. They could have done that. They could have made it like that, you know, and that would have been great. They didn't do that either. They could have easily. It's the same like engine as Black Flag. It's basically the same graphical engine. They could have done all of that. They just didn't. The work they did for the port for Black Flag to go over to the current generation was in a way greater than the work they've done to remaster Assassin's Creed Rogue for the current generation. Even though they did that back in 2013 for Black Flag. So it is doable to make Rogue look better, but for some reason they haven't, and the remaster ultimately was very underwhelming. And it's safe to say that they didn't put their all into it, you know, and that's why I think that it shouldn't exist. You know, if they're not going to put your all into it, you shouldn't make it, you know? That's what I think with this. That's how I approach this. When I sit down and make a video, especially now more than ever, I'll sit down and I'll put everything I have into making that video to make it the best it can be. When it comes to games like this, again, you need to put your all into it, you know, when you're making a game. You can't just half-arse it like the Rogue Remaster. Well, that's the big problem here, okay? They didn't put their all into it, therefore they should have waited until a time where they'd be able to put their all into it, and then done it, and made it even better, you know? They could have easily done that. They weren't in desperate need of sales, and Assassin's Creed wasn't going to lose its relevance. And I mean, they recently just thwarted the Vivendi takeover, so they're in a good place now to hopefully not do this again with like Assassin's Creed 3 or 1 and just release a remaster that is very half-arsed. Honestly, the remaster, I expected it to be cack, so it's not too disappointing. But when I was streaming it not too long ago, people were telling me, like in the chat, it looks the exact same, you know? It does. That's the thing. You can't make that and call it a remaster. It just isn't. So that's my point here today, is Assassin's Creed Rogue Remaster really isn't a remaster. It is by definition a remaster, because they have done improvements, but you don't notice them, they don't enhance your experience, and the game's still capped at fucking 30 frames per second. All the while, you know how it could be done, because we've seen how Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag looks on current generation, and they didn't even call that a remaster. That's more of a remaster than the Rogue Remaster is for Rogue. And that's just the same version of the game as far as everybody's concerned. So, yeah, Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered is and isn't a thing, if you know what I mean. That could disappoint people. Hopefully this video's helped you with what the problem is here. If you like it, if you like the Rogue Remaster, go ahead, you know. I hope you really enjoy it. I hope you do. I'm really glad if you do. That's good news. But I personally think it's not a very good remaster. A lot of people I know personally think the same thing. So I just thought this video was necessary to go over all the problems with the Rogue Remaster. Hope nobody was too upset by that. Please don't stab me. I will promise I'll be good. I promise this was for a good reason. It was constructive criticism, I do hope. I never do these things just to hate. So don't call me a hater, because you'd be right. You would be sorely mistaken. I am a nice boy and a huge Assassin's Creed fan. So if I didn't care about the franchise, I wouldn't mention this, you know. And I don't think anybody else is going to. So here we go. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share. Do let me know what you think about the Rogue Remaster down in the comment section. I want to know what you think. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter and all that stuff as well. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you all very soon with another video at some point.